mom gone, there was a void, and I needed to fill it with something, anything to make the pain go away. 5 months after my mom died, I started high school. I decided to join the football team. It was my first day of practice, 30 minutes before I had to join the squad for summer two-a-days, and there was one tiny problem. My dad and I could not figure out how the hell to get on my shoulder pads. I think maybe you do something with this strap," he said as he fumbled with it. "Of course you do something with the strap," I said. "It's there for a reason. We need to figure out what that reason is." He lost it. "How should I know?" he shouted, tugging on the thing as hard as he could. "I play golf." Neither one of us knew a damn thing about the game of football. All the other kids on the team had been playing since junior high at least. A lot of them since even younger, on peewee teams. They all had brothers who played football, fathers who played football. Some of them even had grandfathers who played football. My granddad claimed he had played football in high school, but no one believed him. And my dad? "I play golf," he said in a full-on panic, dropping the strap. We finally just decided to place the pads on my shoulders. We hoped they were at least facing the right direction. And forget about all the goddamn straps. When I got to practice, I nervously tapped one of the coaches on the shoulder, and he had to put on my shoulder pads for me as my teammates laughed. Welcome to football, Johnny Anonymous. My first season of football was probably the only year of my life I didn't have to worry about my size. I was on the freshman team, which is like the younger stepchild of the JV. I was skinny as hell, but so was everyone else, and I was already almost 6 feet tall, so I was actually bigger than most of the guys. During that first week of practice, though, I found out fast that size didn't mean shit. Even though I was bigger than everyone else, I was still getting my ass kicked. I was just too nice. Smaller kids on the line were demolishing me, shoving me into the dirt, and I wouldn't even push back. When they laughed and made fun of me, I wouldn't say a word. I'd just go home and tear up in my room, alone. I was still a mama's boy, after all. "Dad," I said after my third day of getting dominated, "I don't think I can do this." My dad sighed. "It's okay to be afraid," he said, "but not to quit. Our family doesn't quit. Tomorrow when you put that helmet on, I want you to let it out. Turn it on, like flipping a switch." Maybe my dad was a golfer, but he was still a dad, and a good one. We were all in a vulnerable place after my mom's death, and he knew how important it was not to give up something I started. We had to keep fighting, both of us. The next day, when I put on that helmet, I flipped the switch. I turned it on. I went out onto that field, lined up across from a guy who had crushed me into the ground, laughing just the day before. And when that whistle blew, when our center snapped the ball, I grabbed that fucker across from me and I just flattened him. Drove my fists into his chest plate with a satisfying crunch and laid him out on the ground. Damn, that felt good. Yeah, the move was totally illegal and I would have been flagged for a hold in any legitimate game, but damn, that felt good. At that moment, I knew I was really, really going to like football. I didn't understand it then. Didn't start to piece things together until years later. But I know now that I was tapping into my anger. The anger that welled up after my mom was taken from me. It was still there, hanging over me like a shroud. And I needed to release it. Football became that release. From there on out, I learned how to use that anger. When I played in games, I played angry. When I practiced angry. When I lifted weights, I got angry at the motherfucking weights. Every single drill, every single snap, every single rep, I was angry. Now don't get me wrong, I was always in control. No one had more fun than I did on a football field. But I knew how to turn it on and there was a never-ending reservoir to tap into. And when I was done lifting or practicing or playing, I tucked the anger back inside me, nice and neat and smiling and polite, till I decided to bring it out and use it again. No one but me and my dad would ever know. For the first 2 games of my freshman season, I sat the bench. By the 5th game, I was starting. By the time I was a sophomore, I was so good that I skipped JV and went straight to varsity. I started every single game for the rest of my high school career. My mom would have been proud. It was my sophomore year in high school, and I was at yet another football party. This was at my friend Scott's house. Scott lived with his dad, who was divorced, so the place had a bachelor pad feel to it. The lighting was dim, the sofa was covered in cracked black leather, and there were a lot of mirrors and weird tapestries on the walls. It was pretty hot for Ohio. Scott's dad was out, so a bunch of us were hanging, drinking beer and watching Top Gun on DVD. That's right, Top Gun. How the fuck is this movie not going to appeal to football players? You got Tom Cruise...